Welcome to AIGP News. I'm Steve Sanders. In this week's top story, North Korea launched a missile attack against a small South Korean island. How small is the island, you ask? Smaller than this can. This is the worst act of violence between the Koreas since the Korean War. The Korean police action of the 50s. Which is fondly remembered by most Americans due to the TV show MASH. Iraqi incumbent Prime Minister Tariq al-Maliki has finally cemented his power after the political dreadlock that formed after he was asked to form a new government. Maliki has said he will form the new government in America's image, but fears there's not enough corrupt politicians in Iraq to do so. The U.S. war in Afghanistan has officially lasted the same amount of time as the Russian war in Afghanistan and was known to be going on by the same 5 people. A 21-year-old college student was shot outside of a mall in the Mexican city of Monterrey. But since this happened in Mexico, no one cared. The Mexican city of Monterrey is the most modern Mexican city, with large glass towers and skyscrapers. When building the city, the builders said they wanted to mix the new Mexican city with old Mexican traditions. And they seem to have succeeded. Kanye West and Kung Fu Panda were stars of the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which no one watched. 3 teens were found who went adrift in New Zealand waters, proving that teens need more to do in New Zealand. These teens went missing shortly after their journey began on October 5th. They were quickly pronounced dead after they couldn't be found. When asked what it was like to come back from the dead, they said not as fun as Jesus made it out to be. The World Health Organization, or the WHO, not to be confused with the 60s band, has declared that over 600,000 people die from secondhand smoke each year, which for those of you doing the math is roughly 1%. Quite an epidemic, isn't it? When asked the WHO why they decided to go with that name, they said they wanted credit for the song Pinball Wizard. South Korean President Lee Myung-huk, or Buck, has named his security advisor as the new defense minister. Wait, this just in. South Korea's new defense minister has resigned. Congratulations to Lee Hoo-won for the shortest minister position in history. Haitians head to a poll this week to vote for presidential elections, hoping to vote the most corrupt man into office. Haitian police have already broken up several marches for rival presidential candidates. When asked if they had anything better to do, they said it's easier than dealing with the drug problem. The search for the wreckage and black box of an Air France plane that crashed last year into the Atlantic will resume in February. The French said if they didn't find it soon, they would just surrender and hope it didn't conquer them. A political settlement in Afghanistan would reportedly leave no room for Al-Qaeda, which is fine by them because they said they'd just stay at their mothers for a while. Russian president has said he's looking to build naval bases abroad to strengthen Russia's military. He's also said it might help to hire more than one soldier. South Korea is bolstering its defenses on the border of North Korea with threats of more North Korean attacks. These attacks might force the U.S. to go back into North Korea and start a second Korean War, which would quickly become the second most forgotten war in American history. A Texas jury has convicted former House Majority Leader Tom DeLay of funneling corporate money into the campaigns of Texas representatives. His punishment could be as extreme as 2 terms in the U.S. Senate. Barbara Bush last week said that Sarah Palin should stay in Alaska, which brought cheers from the American people. Sarah Palin said that the American people want her to stay, which makes me wonder why they didn't vote McCain into office. With Thanksgiving this week comes Black Friday, a day of dread and terror as Americans rush to stores flocking them, trying to get the best deals for their Christmas shopping. In honor of this day, we have sent our own Lieutenant Squiggles to one of these stores to find out how they're dealing with the panic. Lieutenant, are you there?
I'm here, Critic.
Well, Lieutenant, what can you tell us about the sales at your store this year?
There's a lot of good deals here, Critic. They're selling everything at rock-bottom prices. Prices so low they're practically giving it away. And they're trying to get shoppers in early, so they're opening the doors at 5 a.m.
About how many people would you say your store expects this year on Black Friday?
Well, they're expecting a lot of business, Critic. And they've even trained their employees in crowd control and riot tactics.
Could you tell us some of the crowd control methods they plan to use this year, Lieutenant?
Well, they're using tear gas, along with fire hoses if the crowd really goes nuts. They also have barricades set up to keep those windows from getting broken out, and have authorized employees to use force if necessary.
That sounds odd.
No, they say they do it every year.
Where exactly are you, Lieutenant?
Big Al's House of Guns and other incendiary devices. Detroit, Michigan, at the corner of Main and Pine.
Okay, how many customers do they expect, Lieutenant?
I am, Critic.
Lieutenant, they can't be expecting that many customers this year.
You said go to someplace with Black Friday sales.
Good point, Lieutenant. It's probably the busiest Detroit store on Black Friday.
Over 500 just today. They even have Glocks on sale.
Thank you, Lieutenant. That was a great report. That was Lieutenant Squiggles, everyone. Now for celebrity news. Justin Bieber released a PSA this week saying that it's not cool to be a bully. Bullies all over the world then released a PSA saying it's not cool to be Justin Bieber. Ugly Betty's Michael Brea this week was arrested for supposedly murdering his mother. You may remember Michael Brea from the episode where he stood in the background and pretended to use a copy machine. Chelsea Handler reportedly made Taylor Swift blush when talking about her new boyfriend 50 Cent. Taylor Swift quickly replied, though, that she was a princess. Paris Hilton is countersuing the hair extension company that is suing her, making us all wonder why we care what Paris Hilton is doing. Charlie Sheen's family is fearing the worst with his recent run-in with legal troubles. They fear that Charlie Sheen might have to serve 5 minutes in jail for hitting his girlfriend. Heidi Fleiss' house caught fire this week, making her wish her career had caught fire instead. Lindsay Lohan was given a one-day pass from the Betty Ford Center this week so she can go celebrate Thanksgiving with her family. This includes most families' usuals like getting up and saying what you're thankful for and doing coke. Christy Martin is said to be recovering from gunshot and stab wounds she received. Her rep says she is recovering fine and they are not life-threatening, making us all wonder, who is Christy Martin? Brooke Hogan's BFF was arrested for DUI this last week, proving that that week was a slow news week. Now for sports news. Tom Brady seemed perfect this last week when he faced the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day, throwing for 4 touchdowns. This helped keep the Detroit streak alive of losing on Thanksgiving Day every year. The Steelers wondered this week if Richard Seymour's fine for hitting Ben Roethlisberger was extreme punishment enough. The Raiders, though, reportedly gave Richard Seymour a raise, saying that that bastard deserved it. Steelers receivers Hines Ward and Antoine Randall L. both came out after this and said that if Peyton Manning or Tom Brady were slapped, the person who slapped them would have probably been suspended from the NFL. But then again, neither Brady nor Manning raped women in the offseason. Titans offensive coordinator Herminger will reportedly be at the game on Sunday making plays. He said he will put off the treatment for his cancer, stating that if Yul Brynner could do it, so can I. The Black Eyed Peas are reportedly going to play at the Super Bowl this year, keeping the Super Bowl tradition alive of having bands who are old and past their prime. Now here are this week's football scores. Thank you. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Steve Sanders, signing off.